Ha 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 ha. You gotta know something, my kids, by now. Never build your house on a sandy land.
Father, would you explain this to us?
Yes, my dear, I shall explain this from the Bible, right? Yeah. Palestine is naturally a land of hills and mountains, and as a result, it is subject to violent rains and sudden floods. The Jordan River annually swells to dangerous levels and becomes rapid and furious. While Jesus was preaching and teaching, there were many people who said they would follow Jesus after hearing him preach. They called themselves his disciples, but they did not practice what Jesus preached, like loving others and changing their attitude.
It means nothing to say, Lord, Lord, when you do nothing to follow my commandments or do the will of God.
So Jesus decided to tell them a story of how two men built their homes. There were two builders in the city. They both began to build houses. The clever man built his house on a rock. He laid his foundation very strong. Occasionally, he would test its strength. It was very hard for him to build on a rock, and it took many days. He had to spend a lot from his pocket and work hard to build a very strong house.
I must build it really strong so that it withstands all flood and storm.
The foolish man built his house in a completely different way. Instead of digging deep and paying the additional cost, he decided to build on the sand. Faster and cheaper was his goal. He wanted it to look good and go up fast.
It isn't really that important to do the right thing.
What he didn't know was the slower, more solid way would win out in the end. Both the builders began to live with a family, and they were enjoying life. Seasons changed. There was a heavy rain with a lot of thunder. The house built on a rock begins to withstand all the rain, but the house built on a sand began to fall little by little. All the family members were into the streets crying for shelter. Soon there was flood and water came rushing to the houses. When the flood reached, there was only a heap of sand, and the house built on a rock was still.
If you do not build your life on a deep foundation and follow my teachings, then you too would find that your house had fallen down.
Likewise, my children, we must build our faith in God, in a rock that will hold firm in any occasion. We should not be shaken with turmoil. Christ knew that some coming to build would be attracted to a ready prepared level surface of sand, rather than to sites that must be excavated to reach the hard and rugged rock. Human nature often chooses what looks easy on surface. But after the seasonal floods, representing trials and tests, such a builder would have nothing left but a heap of ruins. A sandy foundation represents empty preference and mere external religion based on false knowledge. The sand reflects the shifting, uncertain feelings some foolish people possess, the only ground upon which they act. The second house, even though most impressive, stands on a shifting foundation and is therefore doomed to destruction. People whose resolves do not rest on God's help sought in prayer. People who have virtues without rules live in a dangerous position. The Pharisees built their hopes on external blessings and privileges, which alienated their minds from the rock of their salvation. Christ had to tell them that Satan, not Abraham, was the father. So kids, what do you understand by this parable?
In the wise and foolish builders, Christ describes two categories in illustrating the building of a house. Both houses appear equally attractive and substantial, but their comparative stability differs greatly. In their constructions, the materials and the labor used were similar, and both houses appeared upright, solid, and sound. Many times, seemingly good people who are uncalled seem to build their lives well and wisely in terms of money, material possessions, and friends. All these things seem good to the human mind, but their end can be disastrous without a rock foundation. The elect of God build their houses differently by daily obedience, service, overcoming, Bible study, and prayer.
God help those kids grow with knowledge and wisdom.